and what have you been recently doing?
Yeah, my name is Ming Guo. I'm the co-founder of Metis and ZKM.io. So at ZKM, we're developing a ZKVM called ZKM MIPS, and we're on our way to Minnesota. You can check it out at eastproof.org. It's going to be announced very soon. I know it's kind of out of fashion, now proof and blockchain, but AI is all the rage. But you still need that decentralization to protect, like my fellow, entrepreneurs are doing for privacy, for protect your data, and basically just to, be sovereign, be your own, instead of like handing over everything to big corps to own like a, massive AI, which would devolve all your data and all your privacy, everything. So that being said, our ecosystem is also onboarding AI apps that will utilize these basic tools and infrastructures that will bring us to a kind of an alternative AI path, which is decentralized AI. Yeah, that's what.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have some like keywords for you, but maybe after we all do the introductions and Tess, it's your turn.
Excuse me, KJ, can you help everybody boom their voice a little bit?
Yeah.
Boom your
the
voice.
Okay, let's be louder. Okay, we wanna the phone catch the voice. Okay, and we love to hear the insights clearly, right?
Yeah.
All right, Tess.
I'm gonna try and boom the voice. All right, I'm Tess Hau, founder of Tess Ventures, a VC fund based out of Silicon Valley. We invest globally, and we have probably about 300 portfolio companies by now, maybe 100 in Web2, the classic traditional companies, and about 200 in Web3. And mainly the background is I started really early. It's been about 10 years in the blockchain space. And I would say it started off with, my parents giving me 2 younger brothers, 2 younger sisters. They're my first management experience. From there, I just love teamwork. So started my own startup at university. That my co-founder and I was very lucky. We worked hard. So it was acquired before I graduated. From there, I decided to focus on investing and went to Silicon Valley, spent 2 years, 2011, 2013, at Stanford, and spent some time here at Berkeley building the blockchain ecosystem. So I feel very fortunate. So our portfolio includes amazing companies like Zero Gravity, Aether, I would say Monad, Eigenlayer. A lot of these were friends before they became founders. So we were very early in a lot of these companies and helped them build. So Tess Ventures is a team of 10. We're all builders and operators, and basically we just focus on helping our portfolio become successful. At the same time, definitely need to give a shout out to my co-founder, Calvin at Joinable.ai. We also started Joinable.ai because we saw a lot of pain points in this area and no solutions that we felt was suitable. So we decided to start a company around that. And we are a Web3 AI, token-focused project that eventually will focus first on Web3 community and then scale out into Web2. Amazing team we have at Joinable. Looking forward to sharing more about that. On top of that, I at Tess Venture have Gaia Labs, which is a accelerator incubator. That's something that we also do and help founders selectively. So very excited to talk about any of these opportunities, after the event. Thank you, everyone.
That's amazing. Wow. Actually, I have many questions, but maybe after Bruce, introduce yourself, and I can go back to the, other panelists.
Hi everyone, this is Bruce from Scrypt. So we are a little bit, let's say, contrarian in the sense that most people when they heard about the concept of smart contract. I assume everybody here heard about the tokens and smart contract. They usually associate this with some other blockchain like, let's say, Ethereum or Solana. But I've been exclusively focused on so-called smart contract on Bitcoin-like system. First got into this crypto from 2017. Before that, I was working at Facebook as a research scientist doing the infrastructure infrastructure. So I'm always interested in how to build scalable blockchains, because one of the biggest problem, if not the biggest problem for blockchains today is, I think we are a lot of people, we are early adopters, but even for people in the industry, they are probably not used, so-called Web3 apps as often, as frequent as they should have at, let's say, Web2. I don't know how many transactions you are sending today. Probably you are not sending every on-chain transaction all the time, and we really need some really scalable blockchain that can handle the traffic of the entire world. And I think this is a bit controversial. I think the Bitcoin technology, the UTXO model, and also the smart contract capability is very, very undervalued. The so-called the power of Bitcoin Scrypt. So especially, I think after ordinals, I hope you guys heard about ordinals. Bitcoin at the let's say first phase, I would call season 1, is mostly about stock value, numbers go up, and then we have kind of like a so-called season 2. We have ordinal, we have some meta protocols like BRC20, and then room. So people think, oh, Bitcoin not only can do payment and stock value, now you can do also tokens or meme coins. And I think the next phase, which I'm currently focusing on, is so-called season 3. I call it smart contracts, also on Bitcoin, and more versatile and also more scalable. You can literally onboard billions of people in the entire world into the Bitcoin ecosystem. So especially with this new upgrade, where the Bitcoin community is also talking about so-called OpCat. So if there's only one message you get out of from today, do a Google search or ChatGPT, put in OpCat, and I think it's coming. It's the biggest thing ever that's coming to Bitcoin. Basically, you can enable Bitcoin to do everything so-called smart contract platform like Ethereum or Solana can do, but more scalable. So in the technical work, it's Turing complete. So this is just keep an eye on this, and it will be the biggest upgrade, not only for Bitcoin and also because Bitcoin is still the biggest, so for the entire crypto space. So OpCat.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Bruce. I'm gonna make the same joke what I did in Stanford. So please listen to Professor Bruce and do some research on the OpCat, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I should do my homework anyway. Kind of busy this week. Anyway, come back to Ming. Like if you really Google Ming and find him on LinkedIn, right? You can find he's wearing different hats and playing important roles at different companies. Metis, Gold, and ZKM. So Ming, could you tell us the relations between those 3 companies and what are their focuses?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I didn't mention Goat because I expect Bruce to bring up
Bitcoin, yeah.
smart contract. Yeah. So Goat is also building. We call them Bitcoin Layer 2, but the purpose is similar. That we want to enable smart contracts on Bitcoin to onboarding all kinds of decentralized apps. But our approach is a little bit different. Is that we don't rely on OpCat, because OpCat is a smart contract opcode that was actually put in by Satoshi himself, and he took it away. And I don't know, but it's kind of hard to bring it back. But if it is, I'm 100% for it. But in the meanwhile, we're kind of developing solution borrowing from Ethereum, which is optimistic rollup. It's a bit different than, because on the Ethereum, the Ethereum engine is already Turing complete. So the EVM is already Turing complete. So it's the optimistic solution or scaling is very capable already, right? But on Bitcoin, you have to do something else, right? So it's an alternative called BitVM. So combining the power of BitVM on ZKPM, right? The zero knowledge validated proof. You can do this on top of Bitcoin, enabling layer 2. This is what Goat Network is doing. So ZKM is the foundation. We're building and with, of course, as well as BitVM, and combining the two can enable Go network. So that's sort of like a vertical Go network is the solution. It's an app, kind of vertical app solution in itself, and ZKM Foundation. Metis is a optimistic extreme roll-up solution that I'm a co-founder, and that was like 2 years ago.
Crazy. Thank you. And for Tess, I came to the Valley back in 2017, and since then I've been, heard like great things about Tess Ventures, about yourself, and but I was still shocked. You have been investing like 300 in the portfolios, 100 in Web2, 200 in Web3. So, question: how do you manage all those portfolios? That's a lot of work to do, right?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think one of my secret is I and my team doesn't need that much sleep, 4 or 5 hours. And globally, anyone, especially my team or portfolio founders, if they message me, we respond like quite fast. But we also build with the team. We truly are builders, and we're very fortunate. We are a building fund, so my partners and I are the sole LPs. We don't have outside LPs, so we don't even spend half of our time fundraising. The rest of the world, great VCs, they do have to spend a lot of time looking for LPs, raising another fund. We spend 100, if not 150% of our time helping our founders succeed. We, go on business trips with our founders, we fly with them, we are at the conference with them, we set up events for them. So we cross-pollinate, and we encourage our portfolio companies to help each other. So this gives us that multiplier effect. And it truly is like, the Tess Venture family, and we feel extremely fortunate. That's why everyone asks, I basically was, just got back from Beijing, Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong, all on business trips, 2 days in each. I land, GDC was this week, we had our own events, and I come into, coming here and all of these other events. Same energy, no matter where we are, in which city, which country, we land, we go straight to meetings. And why can we do that? I think you build a great culture, you build a great team, and that's what the startup world is. When you're really focused and passionate about what you're doing, and the people around you are also striving toward the same vision, the same goal, it makes it super easy. What is oftentimes hard where companies, collapse or break up is, there's, negative energy within it, and those things will always happen, but you need a systemic base of really good team players that's gonna help you get through all of this. So I think, to your point, how are we able to keep actively investing even in the bear market, which is our favorite time? We are the busiest in the bear market because we're focused on building, and there's less noise in the industry, and we give that advantage to our own portfolio. And certainly with now myself starting Joinable, my co-founders, we are doing exactly that. Like, it's a venture team with different skill sets, and we all cover a different area, yet also have a common alignment that we want to build something great. We want to build something that's missing in the AI space, in the Web3 space, while making sure what we build is like a glue that helps the rest of our portfolio and beyond.
Yeah, that's like you mentioned, like Tess family. That's like all portfolios helping each other. That's great. And like say the 300 portfolios, and that's gonna be like 300 keys. And I bet one of your favorite keys is gonna be zero gravity, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the zero gravity guys are here. So could you tell us a little bit more? And I'm interested to learn like how did you know about this project, and when did you invest? Like what made you want to invest in this project? Pretty quick, yeah.
The industry has been talking about zero gravity for a long time, especially, from my Stanford blockchain friends. And of course, another key person, we did invest, but I also credit George a lot for really encouraging, Tess Ventures to actively help zero gravity more, because I'm very fortunate my portfolio does have a lot of some of the top, 50 companies in Web3 that is in my portfolio, and all of them are very active in synergizing with Tess Venture. But between George, Michael, and then Michael introducing Ada and Wei-Si, all of them are amazing, and the other co-investors were amazing. So I will always remember Michael, even when we're in Saudi Arabia, because I spent a bit of time in Saudi Arabia, focusing on expanding my Web3 my gaming companies in Web2 or Web3, because we do co-invest with the royal family there, they also have a big initiative on AI. They're allocating $1 trillion to invest in AI. So I think what we do is bring that global liquidity, that global network to our portfolio, and that's what we're going to be doing for Zero Gravity, and we have done that. We did that with Animoca. Animoca is another, Yatsu, we invested in them early. So we all have been expanding into the Middle East, especially in Saudi Arabia. And as you saw last year, they made the announcement, the MBS Crown Prince, Neon Fund invested $50 million into Animoca. So I think, beyond US is where everything starts, and I do think this is the hub, Silicon Valley, of great companies, great founders, great technologists. But beyond that, we do need to think through a more strategic global strategy, especially since blockchain is borderless. And we need to cross, across different, continents to converge.
Yeah. Thank you. That is great. And we have investors and we have like entrepreneurs. Definitely, you have a question, right? We're gonna have like some question time. Yeah. So we have like investors, we have the mainland leaders, and we have like startup founders, and still like growing and building. So what's the current status of the Scrypt? Like, what's the milestone or what's the goal for this year, Bruce?
I think we have been building just a Bitcoin or adjacent ecosystem. So at the very beginning, I don't know if you guys heard about Bitcoin. There are many different forks. Since 2017, there's a block size wall, so-called that's Bitcoin Cash, and then Bitcoin Cash later on is split into Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV. So at the beginning, because we want to build applications on top of Bitcoin, and BTC before ordinals, you basically simply cannot do that. Not many builders. So we for a long time we was at Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV. And later on some Bitcoin layer 2 is like Fractal. So I think around this year, because OpCat, or since last year, basically OpCat is back into the, let's say, the Bitcoin mainstream discussion or the public discourse, and we are now shifting, almost all momentum or focus exclusively back to the so-called mother chain. So the number one thing we are doing is to actually educate people about OpCat. What does it do? What are the pros? Of course, what are the cons and the potential risk? Is to educate the community, including developers, miners, and just even investors, and just regular users about what are the pros. And the idea is to get more consensus from the community, so we can push, so we can have it in the next, or maybe even the next upgrade. So that's the number one. Number two, we are also, because, so for us, we are like, we build almost like Solidity just for Bitcoin. Okay, for Bitcoin, because even you have, let's say this fantastic opcodes, right, like OpCat, you still, it's like, now you have EVM, but that's not efficient, that's not sufficient. You need all the development toolings on top. So that's what we have been building since 2018. So basically, exclusively on Bitcoin and also UTXO1. So for example, you have the high-level language, also called Scrypt, just Solidity for Bitcoin. But also we need APIs, also SDKs to make sure even after you have OpCat, or even before you have it, it's much easier to make people build on Bitcoin, not just idea or theory. It's something, we have a lot of tutorials, documentation, even free tier APIs and SDKs you can all try. It's something you can tangibly do it today. So we do this two together.
Yeah, so it sounds amazing because like actually I'm in contact with like a blockchain club in Berkeley. So maybe we all can get together, the investor, mainnet, and right, the OpCat, the builder kit, right? We can do some hacking together, in Berkeley, and the Berkeley kids, they really want to, build stuff, famous for building stuff. So I have heard like good things about like the investment thesis, the market, your own market, and also some like the technology side. And if we look at back to the big market, right, Bitcoin market or the total market, actually, if you know that or not, the President Trump just like make a big speech. He had a speech at in New York, I think, like Digital Asset Summit, and he just like It's like, oh, Bitcoin is going to be, great, blah, blah, things like, but the price didn't go up. Price just went down by 1%. Anyway, so how do you see the big market or say Bitcoin market? Do you see we are, say, in the middle of the bull market, or is it a bull market, or you don't care about bull market? So where we are right now?
I really have a rule that I don't give my own opinion on like market trends. But let me just shoot in the dark. I think this is in an industry everyone is expecting, because I was there previous time. I was in Nashville when President Trump was like first kind of delivered this speech around like boosting Bitcoin, and then everyone is expecting like a super cycle, right? And it's debatable if we're in that super cycle yet, but in order for that to start, there's always like a period of like a calm, a period of calm that okay, that's as much I could say myself. But let's just say I talk about this many times, but there's a good quote or talk by this guy called Alex Kantrowitz. He's a famous blogger and podcaster from CNBC. He can't represent the kind of mood from outside of the industry. Like people are really pissed off and disappointed in crypto in the whole, right? All the good news are like 3 years old. Or maybe they're news about Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is kind of rising, in a very long kind of timeline, no matter what, right? So I'm sure.
The DeepSeek time, but DeepSeek is the real DeepSeek time. So yeah, we were still waiting for that. I think my DeepSeek time in like Web3 was about like Steppen, but that was like a fake DeepSeek time, and made me lost like 20K. So I hope like there's like one DeepSeek time make me rich, like a positive like 20K, not negative 20K anyway. So Tess, what do you see the market today like?
That's a great question. I would say 3 things. To have, I would say the overall blockchain, ecosystem and this market be at, a state where we think it can sustain and continuous growth. I personally, one thing, it needs to be at a steady rate. It cannot be where last cycle, it just went up so quickly. Obviously that was because of FTX and, the others involved. And then it just crashed so quickly. So I really feel corrections are needed, and right now we might be in a correction, but later I can talk about where I personally feel the graph of how Bitcoin will look like if we're talking specifically about Bitcoin. That's my personal opinion. But 3 things that we really need, and we are getting that, is better, higher quality technologists, where they have experience and they actually have seen a lot of the ups and downs and have the technical chops. You would see the prior cycles. I think the crypto native founders are amazing. We needed that to give everyone that boost, but they may not necessarily have built tech or company or product before. So we are seeing that because folks at Tess Ventures and other industry peers have been incubating or bringing in Web2 entrepreneurs that really have a lot of experience into Web3. So we're going to start seeing that convergence, which last cycle already said that Web 2.5 kind of stage that we're at. The other piece is we really need better regulatory guidance and frameworks, and we are starting to see that. That's the reason why the last few years we've spent so much time in Middle East, because Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and the different areas around the world have started to provide that framework, especially last cycle DeFi, when the U.S. was not friendly. But with the current administration, they are sharing a lot of supportive news, and they want to push for that. So that is positive, which gives a good potential for where Bitcoin and this ecosystem will grow. The other piece is, I think you really do need passionate builders that's going to keep sticking with this blockchain Web3 industry, despite the volatile ups and downs, because what you see is tourist builders who comes in when it's high, and everything is like looking great and frothy, and then once things collapse, they disappear. That's why people get the rug pull, the scams, the ups and downs, which is not what we want, right? I've just seen so much of this, and it's just easy for me to internalize and share what's happening in the industry. And the other piece is we really need those who's going to stick with building. And like I said earlier, building in the bear market is the best. You get to focus and not get distracted. You build in the bear market and you get your whole company ready, your tech, your go-to-market ready when the market goes up. So the other piece is the market obviously is going to go up and down. So it's so important not to be reactive. Whether you're a trader, whether you're an investor, you need to really back those companies and founders you believe in long term and really help them grow. Obviously, not every VC firm is going to be able to do that, but for us, that's really our model. So to the point of where Bitcoin may be going, like my personal opinion is, we have teams and analysts that have been looking at, the different countries, the different regulation in the world, from the White House to Wall Street to the VCs to the builders to what's happening in China. The overall, what we think may be happening this year is we're probably going into more a sideways market, if not a bit more of a drop. And then, after the summer, because people don't trade, people don't really get active over the summer, after the summer, Q3, Q4, we're going to see a lot more activity. And that's when, maybe, BTC might have, some movement. And at that time will be a great time for all the great builders who have tech to consider listing or, to, move forward and showcase the tech that they have. But we really need to, each one of us, encourage more Web2 or normies to really learn more about Web3 and blockchain. I've done that the last 10 years, moved traditional money into blockchain, into Web3. We just need a lot more evangelizer, and it starts with one person at a time, because we just need more mass adoption, and the ETF has already helped us with that. That's why we got that pump. But that's not going to keep pumping, right? It has plateaued. We really just need to also do our part in the community, and I think that's where you guys are doing a great job by providing workshops and providing people publicly to come and share and learn. So back to the basics, we also need that part of the ecosystem and more of that.
Yeah, comments on that, have like very twisted feeling on the names, right? You mentioned about ETF, and right, you're building the product, you're building the cases, right? So yeah. Yeah.
My question, sorry to interrupt you. For the Bitcoin is cycled for 4 years, I think, but the best to look at what you can do with this technology, this new, what you can do with the AI, with the blockchain. It's not about the cryptocurrency, and we need to think about. For the quantum computer is coming in 1-2 years, and it's going to be like more AI app that is going to use this technology. It's going to be more fast than ChatGPT or anything we have now.
Thank you for the comments,
Thank you.
man.
I have all
Interesting. Okay, so Bruce, so what do you say? You're building the products. How do you see the market? Do you think do you really care about the Bitcoin price up and down, or just like focus on your own product?
Okay, before that, let me answer this gentleman's question real quick. OpCat can make a Bitcoin quantum resistant. Okay.
Okay,
all
right.
Keep an eye on this. All right.
Find him on Twitter. Oh yeah, I gotta shoot him a message. I got his information. I'll shoot him a message about that.
Yes. I was at, funny enough, I was at GTC yesterday, and Jensen was on stage. That was a quantum day yesterday. We were talking about all the quantum computing is coming. I even wanted to tell him, hey, don't worry. If you have OpCat, Bitcoin is good. Okay. So, back to the original question. I think, of course, we're in the industry, so we're definitely affected. Even sometimes we don't, we're like a passively impacted by the price, because that's what gather, the interest, attention, also, investment, everything as a lot is connected to the price. So definitely, that's something we care about. But as a builder, I think I try to focus on something which I can control, right? The price, I wish it was going higher, but hey, if it's not doing sideways, that's not much I can do. Even Trump, I think recently, because I mostly, focus on the tech side of things, especially on the public discourse like Twitter. So you can watch, it's very funny because, when Trump was first got elected last year, there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin strategic reserve or crypto stock and whatnot. I think then, if you watch the tech, it's kind of like, let's say, I wouldn't say stop, it pause a little bit, because everybody, I think a lot of people in the back of the mind is hoping, hey, maybe the government is going to pump our backs. I think right now it's actually a good moment because you feel, hey, the government is not going to buy our back. So we got to find our way within the industry to save ourselves. There's no, there's no savior from outside. Trump is not going to pump our backs. Okay. I think, funny enough, after he made that announcement about the Bitcoin reserve, all of a sudden, tech traders start to come up again. Recent, OpCat, or CTV, or ZKM, all of them coming back. So for me, I kind of like, hey, finally the, let's say the false promise, whatever hope was a dream, or we wake up from it, and there's no outside, so we just have to, like, all these two patterns just said, the help is going to from within. I think it's what's going to, I think I don't worry too much about the market. Basically, it's like AI. You talk about DeepSeek moment, right?
Yeah.
If that's good applications, it doesn't matter what's bear market, bull market. It's going to just make the app is going to stand out and then bring a lot of users. They don't need it. They're not here for the meme to pump. They're just here just because it's useful to them. I think we are still. I just feel it's one step, just still not there yet for the killer app to show up. Maybe some kind of game, or some kind of finance applications, or some maybe just cross border payment. Something people really need. It's not just P2P where just, hey, you lost money because then I win some, it's zero sum.
Yeah.
With any other industry has to be positive sum because this technology can really solve people's real problem. I think that moment we are still. I think now, so what our idea is, we want to build all the toolings so other people can innovate fast. Because the natural I always use is, is the mobile phone. When it first came out, I remember very clearly, hey, why do I have a desktop here, or laptop, why do I need a phone? I can just play all my games here, I can receive email, send email, or watch YouTube, why do I need a mobile? I think when Steve Jobs, he announced iPhone, it still took, I think, a couple of years for, let's say, Angry Bird or Instagram to pick up. Because at the beginning, it's very hard to build apps, and also there's no app store. So I think we are still at that moment. We need a lot of infra and tools to be ready. So people can spend. They have to almost to 1,000 iteration have to die before we make it to the 1,001 the app to really break into the mainstream.
Right. That's a controversial topic. Maybe we focus too much on the infra for the last couple of years, and now we need to bring the applications. But I have no problem with the infras. I think the infras and the applications should come together and make the use cases and bring the normies, come to Web3. And for the ZKM, the goal, get off the team and start building projects, right? Can you tell us more about why Joinable? What make you say, hey, maybe you want to allocate some of the time to start build a product, not just portfolio managing a product, and actually put more efforts and time and resources on one project. Not just because this project is amazing. Is there any other thinking or any other reason? Say, hey, as an investor, you feel, oh, it's time for me to really get to you.
Yeah, I love that question. That's an amazing question because it does not only express why I am spending time on Joinable, and in fact, it is going to be, practically my 100% focus because of the fact I really think it also helps my portfolio. Joinable is structured and set up that we would almost be an analogy, the seatbelt for every car. So whether you are a Web3 company or Web2 company, they can partner with Joinable. And focusing first on why, because my first priority has been my Web3 companies. And Web3 company is not easy. There's so much that seems like has been built in the ecosystem, but actually has not once you start to use the technology or once you start to partner or build on top of it. So I got frustrated because I was sending Web3 AI companies to other ecosystems in the Web3 community. But the feedback, and I did my diligence, was we actually cannot build on that protocol, or we cannot actually do much on it. So how is that going to improve the whole ecosystem, the whole Web3 space as a whole? That's why I just took a step back, looked at the problem, which is we need a consortium alliance first for those who are not building yet, but want to learn how to build in a Web3 ecosystem, and especially applying AI. And that's where we also started Join.ai Alliance, which is the alliance of how we can help builders prepare for a Web3, slash AI type of entrepreneurship journey. And for those who already have these companies, then they can join us, and we can all be able to have meetings of the minds and be able to collaborate in a very authentic way, and not about, there's a lot of frenemies in the industry, right? You act like you want to partner, but actually, they don't really give the support or the help. They just want to further better their own company. For me, and as a Tess Venture and Joinable, we truly are looking at this long term. We feel Join.ai Alliance, Joinable, the tech stack that we build is going to allow, we basically have coined the word join data. We're going to join data that is from the private side and the public side, meaning you Google yourself, there's going to be a lot of information out there from ChatGPT that is public data. But how can you actually use search AI in a fashion that search for your own data on your Telegram, on your WhatsApp, on your photos, emails? You can't yet, but we're building that unified technology stack that allows you to search across public data and private data. So that's just one component. But the true, to your question, the true goal, I think, when we want to also start with dApps is the ecosystem, is ready for dApps. And, amazing companies like Zero Gravity, Ether, those are all in my portfolio. We invested from practically day one. They are the stack below us, and we are able to help sit on top and help bring more traffic, more users, more true utility. So I feel, my team and I, we will be able to cross-pollinate our portfolio and others that are beyond our portfolio, but are like, friends of Joinable, partners of Joinable, to all succeed together. Because, every company cannot work on a silo. We need more to collaborate and partner. And we are obviously chain agnostic. And we've decided on a technology platform that can be for first focusing on Web3, then scale up to Web2. So that's truly how we feel. And that's why we're so excited every day to do this. And it's a long-term play, yet also we have so much support from KOLs, from the different ecosystem partners, because a huge part of Web3 is marketing. You can have the best tech stack or the best team, but if you don't also make sure you focus on the marketing side, your project, your tech is not going to be known. I made that mistake very early because we all think build and they will come. And our portfolios have made that mistake, yet over time, they've learned, they've iterated, and it's a combo of all of this that is important. The tech, the team, the investor, the marketing piece, and from there, just being very passionate, very long-term, and sustaining through it. So for ourselves, our token is ready to launch, anytime this year, yet we are going to monitor the market and figure out when is the best time to do this and what makes sense. And it's not launching a token for the sake of a token, even though we have true token utility in our Joinable project.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Love this. So when I was working as an investor before, and one question I always ask the founder, say, what real problem do you solve, right? Don't give me the PPT trying to raise millions of dollars from me. So what real problem do you solve, right? And I think at this moment, Tess say, hey, here's a problem. I probably don't see the best candidate to solve the problem. Or there are some options, some solutions, but they're not the best. I feel me, you and Kelvin and some other co-founders, we can provide the best solution in this market. And then boom, okay, you start to solve the real problem. Love it, love it. Thank you, appreciate it. So actually, this concludes the panel. But since our senior bear is here, sorry, I don't get your name.
Leonid.
Leonid, okay.